Hi guys, it has been over 3 months since Peterbot actually won a Fortnite tourney, and he's obviously the best player in the world. He won the solo series back in October, but in the past 3 months, he really hasn't been grinding too much. He's not been putting the work in. He's been playing other games, and it's fair enough because he's obviously put in so much work the past 2 years becoming the best player in the world. But the issue with that is he's just kind of fallen off. He's, not recognized. People are saying that Higgs is better than him. People are saying that Clicks is the best player in the world. I mean, what on earth is going on? And of course, Peterbot comes back. He immediately wins the Reload Elite Series heats. He got a crazy amount of kills, that 84 kills in heats right there. As well as he just won the Eval Cup, which of course all of the top pro teams are playing. Loads of EU pros are playing in this as well. And there's going to be some very good stuff that we can learn. And importantly, we've got more divisional cups next week. And also we've got a brand new meta as well. There's no longer slurp juices, there's no longer crash pads, and instead we've got these flowberry mist grenades, basically like a healing item that gives you the flowberry effect. And we're talking about how Peterbot uses that to take height later in the video. But first of all, let's go take a look at how Peterbot wins his spawn. It's something very, very important. Is as you can see, him and Pollo have slightly high drops, obviously very good drops for the roof right here, but they're slightly high compared to this team right here, as well as this guy at the back who's just too low. So many people make this mistake when they're dropping in, is they drop and they're trying to go for like the front door. You never want to be doing that. Instead, you want to be trying to land on the roof with the option of going back as well. And the reason why Pete does this is it gives him some easy opening damage, as you can see right there, and also allows him to isolate this other player that's landing front. He wins this easy aim duel, and as soon as he spots the other players healing up and trying to push him, he just plays time for Pollo to come over. Doesn't try to 1v2, he just plays time, waits for Pollo to come over. See here, he's just playing time, waiting for Pollo. Pollo comes over and helps, and these guys win this easy little fight. Obviously, massively aided by the damage Peterbot got, but it's all because of those nice drops they had. And for the rest of this mid-game and early game, guys, there's really nothing too fancy that these guys do. With the slurps being removed from the loot pool, I don't think it's really worth to tank Storm anymore. I actually think it's much, much better to just focus on getting to a good position. So if we skip about 5 minutes or so right now, as you can see, these guys are focused on getting to a decent position here as we skip forward, and that's exactly what they do. Second zone, where are they going to? They're basically going to center second, and they're getting their mats, and they're just boxing up on a hill really, really simply. And the reason why this is so strong, going near center second, is if I skip even further forward, you're not going to believe this, but these guys are still in the same box, way further forward like this. 5 minutes have passed, 5 or 6 minutes have passed, and they're still in the exact same position. That's the benefit of going center second, is you just pull really good zones. You don't have to move too much. You can get easy surge. And also interestingly for surge, these guys are playing Enforcer AR and the pistols. This basically pistol is very good for getting refreshes late game. And of course, the Enforcer is better for long range tags versus the Deadeye, which of course is like 20 per body shot, about 30, which is much better for getting those long range tags. And something they do very interestingly here, and I think you guys should be doing this in the divisional cups, is they rotate nice and early. As you can see, there's loads of people on congested side right here. There's loads of people on this backside. And the issue of that is all of these players are going to rotate probably last second to avoid dying out there. And they're going to land somewhere, on this edge of zone. And it's going to be a very, very busy spot. So look what Pete and Pollo do to basically counteract this and use their knowledge of the game. What they do is they go nice and early, so they're basically the first team to fly in here. They choose a nice timing where there's another team going, but they're still one of the first teams going in. They land on a high layer, so on this little cliff face right here, and also as you can see from their position, they're a little bit further in than these other teams. They have a little bit of advantage in terms of positioning, and this is going to be very, very important in a second. If I skip forward about another minute, as you can see, now as all these other people fly in and they rotate in, these guys are going to be able to get a load of free damage. They're going to get themselves way above surge. And also, importantly here, they are away from congested side. Look how many people are boxed up on edge, like Canada, Clicks, Higgs, all these other good teams are boxed on edge. Yomzo, even Korean down here. All these people are boxed on edge, and these guys are a little bit further in, which allows them to have an easier rotate next zone, and also a potential easy refresh on the next zone pool. Alright, now next zone pool's far. What do these guys do for rotate? First of all, they get a load of info before they go. They basically double check all around them so they know exactly what's going on around them, where everybody is, and who's actually rotating next to them. And then in terms of the actual rotate technique here, it's really simple. And I think this is actually the best way of rotating this season. Rather than doing the high walls or doing the edit, just choose an angle where nobody is, like nobody's looking at them from here, and then just do this little head bump jetpack at the same timing as these players' backsides. You can see these players' backside are going, they're doing this technique where you go out the wall right there, and these guys are choosing the same timing, so they're not going to get isolated out of the air. But you can see the slight difference is they're a little bit further ahead. And this is going to be very useful in a second. So it allows these guys to land further into zone, get more towards the center of zone here, rather than landing on that congested side once again. Also, Pollo does a crazy play right here. I should say. He spots this guy getting fried out the air, and he decides to just full send it for a refresh. Takes out this player right here. Other player gets on his wall, and of course, Pollo's the GOAT. Just hits a max and takes out both players. Pete was landing a little bit further in to get himself, into the end zone, but he decides to double back and get all the loot with Pollo. So very, very good stuff. Honestly, not the worst refresh, right? Just like spotting someone who gets cracked out the air and then landing on them because it's an easy kill. And then these guys get themselves completely stacked up. And this is when they start to actually think about using these flow briefers grenades, which are going to become very, very important later when they go for height. His next kill, very, very simple, is they see a solo. They see only, 1 footstep right here. This guy just stood up and they uncrouch. They hear him walking around on the ground. If you're ever trying to solo clutch, try avoiding going on the ground layer like this because it's just a very isolated fight. See, this guy's trying to crouch up, trying to go for a play. You're obviously making footsteps when he's on the ground right there. It's taken out. And these guys get another refresh. And that kind of sets themselves up for success for basically the entirety of the rest of this game. Next rotate, they do the exact same thing. They do this little head bounce jetpack on first moving. And something I think is really important for rotates this season is trying to break up the jetpack into 2 goes. You can see their backside. They go pretty much the whole way towards front side. They go a high layer and they're going to double jetpack on this one rotate. And I don't see many teams doing this, but I think it's actually so strong because if you were to try to just run this rotate, you're going to be running through so much congestion. You're going to risk taking damage. You're going to risk being in a bad spot. Instead, these guys just land. They do the head bounce once again. Exact same thing. There's nobody back here. It's really, really free. 20 seconds have passed. They go. They scout height in the air, so they're able to get that information as well. And of course, they're going to land front side and get themselves into this very, very good position. And if you take a look at the map right now, if I zoom in, these guys are right here. So they're one of the first teams to get into the end of zone. And they're also in a very good position where they've got a lot of time to go for a kill because they're not waiting last second to jetpack. They're one of the first teams into the end zone and also quite deep into the end zone as well. Once Pollo runs over, you can see these guys get over and now they're in this really, really good position where, they're much further in. And again, they're not on this congested side of zone, which I think a lot of people end up on congested side, just over and over. And it basically messes up your whole game. Right here, this team, fair play to them. They tried to go for a pre-edit play on Pete and Pollo. Of course, these guys, as soon as they see a player coming up on the wall with a pickaxe, they both just insta-edit and basically insta-kill one of them. Other guy does the correct play, which is just running off, and these guys get the body, immediately throw the body back in the top. And that's kind of a good example, is you don't need to be going for a refresh necessarily. You don't need to be like forcing a refresh. Just getting into a good position, so double jetpacking, into the zone, looking for an opportunity, whether it's a solo, whether it's, a team trying to actually get a refresh on you. If you're ready for those types of plays with good awareness and also ready for zone to swap, like right here, it's going to help you get a lot more kills. So zone ends up pulling, goes towards them. What do? They don't just sit around, passively waiting for a refresh. Instead, they tarp a whole load of space front side and they start looking. And also importantly, whenever they're looking for a kill, they're doing so together from the exact same box. Right there, nice little solo running past. Easy to get the kill. They get some more flow grenades right there. And as soon as they get that kill, they tarp once again. And they get themselves all the way, deeper into zone right here. Alright, now this is honestly a big part in the game. Because I think a lot of people would make this mistake. Obviously, we can't see their mats and stuff just because the replays are bugged at the moment. But they get this kill right here onto Brilliant. Do you guys go for this loot? I think this is kind of like an IQ check in Fortnite. Like, is it worth going for this loot? The guy doesn't have a wall here, so you can maybe go in and grab that. The issue is there's somebody in this box, and also it's putting yourself in a much worse layer, and also putting yourself towards backside by the time you get your loot. So as soon as these guys get this kill, look what they do. Is they just leave it, they throw down one of these flow fizz grenades, they basically get the fizz effect, they throw it down, and immediately they sprint and they get themselves up players. So rather than put themselves backside, low ground, trying to get a refresh, instead they just sprint up players, as you can see right here. They tarp even further in, and then they start executing their win condition, which is of course going to be going for height. They chop out height on backside right here. Very, very nice chop. As zone is about to start pulling as well, they make even more space. So they make another 3 boxes of space right here. Zone pulls far. What do these guys do? They throw down another fizz grenade, as you can see, and they're going to start layering up. It's so important whenever you use this new item, guys, that you layer up at the same time. So you can see sprint jumps up, pause, reset, look at height once again, as you can see, little free chop out of height. And really, really importantly here from these guys, on my miles off, from these guys is, as you can see, they're chopping out height from directly underneath height. So height has no awareness. Reciprocal and sales up here, they have no awareness that they're getting chopped because they're tarping over Pete and Pollo. Pete and Pollo are, deliberately rotating straight underneath height. They get this free chop out. What do they do as soon as they get that chop out? They use another one of these grenades, and now they're finally ready to go up. They've burned enough of Height's mats. They know Height is pretty shambles on mats. Pete gets a free little tag right here. Pollo goes up from a split angle. Also does a very nice ADS pump to get a little bit of damage. Now gets the full box onto reciprocal. Jumps up, hits the max. And of course, Pete is going to take out Sales as well. Pretty unfortunate for that Height team. I don't think the Height team was playing it terribly. It's just these guys deliberately went underneath Height and did an awareness check chop out, as you can see. And also, I should mention, this grenade does heal up the shield. So if your backside kind of scuffed, it's probably worth to throw one of these down. So you get like 8 HP per second. It's actually pretty good heals. It also heals you up 100 shield as well, which is nice. And of course, when you use it, then you get that mobility effect. So then you can go to front side. So if you're scuffed backside, it's definitely worth throwing down one of these and then immediately just rotating towards front side of zone. Alright, now, for the rest of this game, nothing too crazy, honestly. They just chill up on height. They spray a whole lot, but there is a nice 2v2 in a second. After they spray, the benefit of playing light and medium is you get like cap ammo to spray. Pollo's just spamming non-stop, and these guys get into a 2v2 versus Bolts and Acorn in a second that I want to break down. So bounces back. Very, very nice. And then Pollo is going to start layering down as these guys get into 2v2. And what he's trying to do here is basically interrupt and mess up any like heal off potential of this other team. You can see the other team is chopping down. They're chopping through the builds. He drops all of the heal off up to Pete, who's going to be up on high ground. And now these guys start suffocating. And this is something really important that you need to do in these final zones, or basically every zone, is just be aware of the zone pool. Acorn and Bolts, obviously down here, they're not aware of the zone pool. Like, they're not actually focusing on, the zone and where it's pulling, because otherwise they would have realized they needed to get up layers earlier. They can't just sit on low ground in this final zone scenario, because it's going to close before they're able to actually pull all the way up. The Pollo gets a very nice free tag right there. Gets even more damage off before he dies in a second. Gets a little bit more damage off. And just that little bit of damage that he gets off that doesn't even like crack or kill either of them. He gets just a little bit of damage off. And importantly, with that suffocation down on low ground, he's made it very, very hard for these guys to actually do anything. What does Pete do? Of course, he's the GOAT. He's going to drop down, get into the fight. And this is the exact peak that he actually did on Dukes at the Globals that he won. Is this really, really nice one. It might not look like the best peak in the world, right? So again, not the craziest final sort of moment 1v1 that we've ever seen from Pete, but dropping down when the other players are grabbing the mats and smacking their way out with their pickaxes out. Very, very free shot right there onto Acorn. And then finally, Bolts was basically guaranteed Dead Storm. But this peak, where you go over the top of the ramp like this, is really hard to hit because basically you're basically jumping up rather than just peeking over the top by walking. Jumping obviously is a much better peak to do in all these scenarios, and it gives you a clear shot on your opponent with the third person peek over that wall. In terms of the loadout, I just want to show you guys quickly what they're running. Pollo was running bigs, minis, as well as a jetpack, and then obviously pistol or tacker, you can choose what you want to run. And then Pete was running 3 of those new Fizzberry grenades, Glowberry Fizz grenades, as well as a Chug Jug. I would probably say the meta is just going to be bigs, minis, and then try to carry as many of those grenades as possible. You can carry a stack max of 3 of them. You can see they carry 3 right here. But you ideally want to be carrying like 6 of them, because it's literally 100 shield for both you and your duo. Basically like a Flowberry Fizz, but you don't need to, stand there and hold it the entire time. The only downside of it is if you could attack like 50, you don't want to waste it. That's why probably carrying bigs is going to be the meta with this grenade. So you can save it for later in the game. Saving it for, moving zones. If you get pumped, you can use one. As well as late game, it's important to realize that you can steal other people's grenades quite easily to get mobility, as well as to get some shield up for yourself while rotating. Anyway, that's all for today's video, guys. If you're interested, please go check out the Knar's Masterclass. I think it's genuinely one of the best resources to getting better in Fortnite. The videos are really short, simple, direct to the point, where you can learn very, very quickly. We've got some great feedback from players qualifying to higher divisions already just by using it.